And you're live.
Hey, there we are. Welcome, everybody. This is, I'm David Georgeson. I'm the Director of Development for the EverQuest franchise. And with me are the folks from EverQuest 2. Down there on the end is our lead designer, Kyle Valee.
Hi.
And then Carlos Mora, one of our senior designers, and Nathan McCall, also another one of our senior designers.
Hello.
So we're here to talk a little bit about the upcoming game update, number 66, Scars of the Awakened. And well, to start that off, before we get into it, we wanted to talk a little bit about the story thus far, so that everybody can kind of get caught up, and that way the rest of the stuff that we were going to talk about will make more sense. So we talked a little bit before we started the cameras rolling today, and we haven't really picked a spot where we're going to start. But Nathan, you look gullible. Let's start with you.
So let's not go back too far and bore everyone who's already seen these stuff. But for those of you who didn't read the quest dialogue, maybe this will come in handy. So we're going back to Velius. And that's the point where you have come into this new continent, and you're starting to really find out that there's this thing called the Age's End prophecy.
Right.
And it's all surrounds this stone, which is the Shisar calendar. And from it, different people have found out about this Age's End that's supposed to be coming about. And so there's like Mayong Miss Moore was one of them that was doing a lot of the investigating, and maybe Nagafin knows a little bit about it.
Because Nagafin knows a little bit about everything.
Yes, he does. And so then we get to other characters that start having the players investigate this as well. And they're trying to stop it from occurring, because the Age's End is going to be the utter destruction, from their estimation, their interpretation of the calendar. It's going to be the utter destruction of Norath at the hands of Carafirm. And Awakened. And so he and his forces, which are the Awakened Legion. So then he has been struggling with gaining more power, and other people have been trying to stop him along the way. You're learning more and more about what it is that you might be able to do to stop him. And at one point, he even gets the power from the two Swords of Destiny. And the Swords of Destiny are Kinos Claymore and Soulfire. So these are very pivotal items. Those are Rowan Thier's swords originally. There you see him with Thier holding them.
The God Slayer.
So Rowan Thier had these swords, and they actually, mortals had them for a long time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then Rowan Thier had them, and then the power got drained away from him. Carafirm took the power.
Correct.
Right, and so Carafirm's going to use that power to destroy the world. That's what the prophecy says.
Essentially, is what the prophecy
We don't know
says.
that for sure right now. Right?
No, no.
So that's what the prophecy says, and everybody's kind of pretty worried about it. So what are
Yes,
they?
understandably.
Yeah. So
Sounds like fun.
What are they doing? What are they doing to stop the prophecy? What is everybody doing to stop the prophecy?
Well, furthering to explore to understand the calendar, because it's got all sorts of different symbols and keys within it that hopefully will either lead to it not happening, or that are signs of when it will happen, and thereby they can cut it off.
So the calendar is giving us lots of clues,
Yes.
and everybody, lots of different people are pursuing the different clues. But there's some other stuff that's happened since, say, like, well, when Velius started and we went to Sky Shrine, a bunch of pivotal, like, political stuff started happening, right?
Yeah, about that too. That's related to it, where the armies of Norath, of the player cities. So you've got New Hallis, you've got Nariak, Gorwyn, Kinos, Freeport, are all joining together as a new combined force. And this force is very tenuous. I mean, because cooperation between these cities are not going to be, that's not going to be the best. So, no, the citizens of Kinos particularly questioned why it was that Freeport Lucan was now in cooperation with Antonia and
All right.
Kinos.
You see a lot of that subtext in the quests when you play in the Kino
Yes.
stuff
Right.
since the revamp.
Yes.
Are you seeing much of that in the Freeport context too, or are they're basically they?
No, I think that they're pretty much just like, well, we can take care of ourselves, but we can also take advantage of this.
Right. So it's really only the good people that are upset that the evil people are involved. So now you have this a combine empire army, right?
Army,
So basically, everybody from Norath putting together into an army, and then they're going to go take on Carafirm. Is that the idea?
Either they'll take him on or they'll find ways of defeating him. But that's their intent, yes, definitely, is to try and stop the Ages End prophecy from coming to pass.
Okay. So how are you, the players, involved with the Combine army?
So far, you've been helping them as they've been finding either more of these monoliths of Tyr, which are pieces of the calendar, or you've been helping investigate different means of which you could possibly defeat him. And you're going deeper and deeper into Velius, where hopefully they will actually come to a head beating Carafirm.
That sounds cool. We have. Oh, I was just going to ask if we had some screenshots and stuff. So, what are these screenshots? So this is Withered Lands and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, this is when you started getting involved in the Sky Shrine stuff. Now, the Sky Shrine stuff is interesting to me because, well, dragons are cool, right?
Right.
So, dragons are cool. So, and then you get into the whole try again, Dave. The Awakened army, the Awakened
Essentially,
legions.
Sky Shrine has been invaded by the armies of the Awakened, Carafirm's armies. You get to experience the whole betrayal and savior of Sky Shrine, the utter destruction, and you, the heroes, come in and get to save the day. You know.
So Carafirm was eliminating opposition. Is that what he was doing?
Yeah, basically he knew that there were some key players in Sky Shrine that he needed to remove from the pegboard to move along.
Right.
And he managed to convince a betrayer to lower the defenses of the great dragon citadel, you know, and let his boys in.
Nice.
And they kind of turned it into a food processor inside.
And that's where the players actually entered, is when that whole thing's going down. I mean, it's
Right.
already happened.
Right.
The Awakened had already shown up.
Right.
But the players entered right when that whole big event was happening.
Right.
So they got to kind of jump in and kind of
In
save
the
the day.
middle, I mean, quite frankly, I mean, quite literally, in
Oh,
the
yes.
middle of that battle.
Yeah, they jump in and there's battle.
Right.
So that was Carafirm's first small defeat.
Correct.
Got pushed back out of Sky Shrine.
He did get pushed out, but that's the cost to everyone else was so high that it didn't really feel like much of a win.
So how's the what's the morale like in the Combine army after the Sky? Are they
Yes,
aware of how powerful what stuff is that they're facing?
I think they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't then, and so then now when we, okay, well let me take a step back. While we were in Sky Shrine battling the Awakened Legion,
Right.
the new Combine forces, because they didn't go in with you, so they pushed on further into Velius, and that's when they crossed the lines and have entered now into Cobalt Scar.
Oh, I see.
And so they were totally sidestepping all of that. And so now they've pressed further in to try and bring that fight to his doorstep.
So the Sky Shrine stuff was a little bit kept away from them a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're
yeah.
they're still focusing on marching towards the unknown, basically.
Correct.
So Sky Shrine was really the focus of bringing in the heroes,
Right.
the players, the heroes, and letting them come in and demonstrate their power. So both sides are seeing how powerful the heroes of Norath are, our players,
Right.
and what you're up against, and knowing that was just a small portion of Carafirm's power.
Well, also, if the players hadn't gone into Sky Shrine and done what they did, then the Combine army would have been stopped right away because the Awakened could have come down and stopped them and stopped their
They'd have
progression
been
there.
facing a
So
dragon army.
the players played a pivotal role in keeping that away from the Combine so they could progress.
Right. So then we had this major interlude where everybody started dying and we went to Eternir. Right?
Yes.
And that didn't really have anything to do with the Ages End prophecy directly, did
Not
it?
directly, but they just found a few more of those monoliths of Tyr along the way.
Okay. Which did what? What does that do for the story?
It'll help other people figure out what is correctly going on.
More pieces
You're
of the puzzle.
essentially reassembling the Armageddon clock. You're trying to find out
good analogy.
what time is on the Armageddon clock. You know that the Shissar calendar is pivotal. Haha, you did that. And you know that that there is a prophecy coming. You know that there are different parts of the story that have different ideas about what Age's End is.
Right.
Because
But without
there
all
are
those
definitely-
pieces.
There are definitely different pieces. So basically, part of the Ether Near was also helping reassemble what I called the Armageddon clock. You're trying to finish the Shissar calendar and really figure out what the prophecy is.
So then you come back, and we're starting to get to the more to the current stuff.
Right.
So you come back from Ether Near after having saved the world,
Right.
and you come back and you find the Combine Army where?
They've pushed on into Cobalt Scar, and you'll be getting a mail that'll say, you know, a call to arms kind of idea, and come to Cobalt Scar. And you'll be able to then enter in and see what it is that they have found. What they have realized is that the Awakened Legion had used a section of Cobalt Scar as a staging point, staging ground for their attacks upon Sky Shrine. And so now you're going to help in that battle as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And then,
But-
of course, I know a bunch of the stories. and
Yeah,
stuff
there's
that'll be
more to
coming out.
that. There's all sorts of things in Cobalt Scar. But one of the things that I think is really, really cool and that people will really enjoy is more tugs at the heartstrings. The Othmir back in the Great Divide and in Eastern Wastes were quite the lovable characters and very endearing storyline going on there. Nippic, exactly. And so, well, at the news that some people had made their way to Cobalt Scar, the Othmir, hearing that, got really excited too, because this is the land of their ancestors. This is where they have come from.
Right.
Nippic had to convince a very few Othmir to go with him away from those lands when he foresaw that something horrible was going to happen. Utter destruction. And so he said, we have to leave, we have to leave. So many people said, no, we're not gonna. But
So now they're going back, is what you're saying?
yeah, they
Something
get-
horrible is going to happen there.
Right.
And so now these they're like pilgrimage.
Yeah.
They're on a pilgrimage to then go see their ancestral land and hopefully reconnect with their kin.
Right.
And so Osh goes along with them. Osh was the speaker for Lodazal, that the grandson, if I remember right, for Nippic.
Right. Took over for Nippic.
Correct. And so he gets to have a little coming of his own there as well.
That's
but at
awesome.
the same time, you get to see and appreciate even more Nippic's sacrifice.
And that's all in Cobalt Scar.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So
like
we're not even
1/4 of Cobalt.
And we're not even talking about Sirens Grotto yet.
Right.
I know that Sirens Grotto obviously comes after Cobalt Scar in the story, so we can actually talk about it less, because otherwise you're tipping off too much stuff.
Right.
But is there anything you can talk about Sirens Grotto now?
You should help those sirens, those
Yes.
poor defenseless sirens. They really need your help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So we're going to meet the Sirens. Okay, that's one tip off. Is there anything else that you can mention, or should we just skate around that issue for right now?
I think you should venture there for yourself and
Okay, all right.
check it out.
That's
and,
fine, that's fine.
And help them out if you can, because
So- so
like
just-
he said, they really need your help.
Right. So to recap, we've had all this stuff with the Ages in Prophecy. We know where it's basically going. Everybody believes that Carafirm's going to destroy the world because he has the power of these swords
Well,
now.
so we really don't know where it's going. I mean, we
Well, sorry,
sort
this
of
is what the-
we sort of know where it's going, but everyone kind of has their own idea about what Age's End is
Their
and
interpretation.
what part the Swords of Destiny are playing in this whole thing. And there's a lot of players that haven't been identified yet, too. So
Is there argument about the end of Ages in Prophecy? Are there other possibilities that have been talked about?
I don't think that have been talked about.
Okay. But there are other possibilities, and we might find out about them later.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, obviously, what Carafirm thinks of
That's true. That's a good
of
point.
the Ages End prophecy is completely different than
He
what the
wouldn't
players
want to
think.
bring
it
about
is.
the
True.
utter
So yeah,
destruction
he
if
wouldn't
he
want to
thought
destroy
it-
the world; it would destroy him too.
Right.
Okay, so we're at the point really we can't keep talking about the lore, but
Right.
there's certain stuff that we don't want to reveal. So can you talk instead about why this update will be cool?
well, it's a good size update. We have a whole overland zone with lots of quests. We're doing something different with the Overland Zone. This is going to be a new thing we're trying out, but essentially it's an advanced solo Overland Zone, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's a little further up in the progression. You're encouraged to bring your friends or your mercs to progress through that. We have
my merc is my friend.
there you go.
Likes
see, and you've probably developed a really close relationship with him. We have new heroic dungeons, new advanced solo dungeons. We have a very, very good sized new raid that I think people are going to really be excited about. We're kind of picking up at the end of the progression, so the raid's kind of starting at the end of where normal mode raids ended. So it's going to be there's going to be some progression and some difficulty.
It sounds like people that like challenge should like this update.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there's also a pretty big chunk of crafting content as well.
Oh, yes.
What kind of crafting content?
Oh, I don't know the exact number.
We have a pretty good sized crafting quest line series. I think it's 20 or 30 quests that's going to give some new recipes and some new rewards and
new trade skill apprentice items, I believe.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I'll get that in 12 days or less. Here it comes.
Well, these are now 45-day recipes. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. Don't quote me, please.
Is there anything else that you might want to mention?
Well, we have a lot of the spell and feedback changes coming. There's going to be some class balance. We have lots of new itemization. We didn't itemize. It's not going to be like Sky Shrine where you went in and everything was new, and we limited the amount of slots that you can find upgrades for.
So it's not a complete gear reset or anything.
You're not getting a complete gear reset. You're just going to be adding 7 or 8 slots to your already gear. We don't want to make the expansion obsolete. We want to keep the expansion important. Right. We want to keep other zones important.
But you made these zones a little bit more challenging, so the gear gets
you
up a little bit.
The slots that you are rewarded are definitely upgrades to anything that you have previously.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Of course, by tiers. So if you're a solo player, you will absolutely receive upgrades. If you're a heroic player, you will definitely receive upgrades. And if you're a raider, and we've actually put in something special for the raiders. Yes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
You had brought up one thing about Sirens Grotto that you thought would be important to mention right before we started filming this. It's not an underwater zone.
Oh yes, I know everybody just wants to fight underwater, but we decided to make it looks like it's been underwater, but it's been drained out, and there's still very much water elements to it, but you won't be fighting underwater.
But it's still amazing to me.
I know you're all really disappointed.
Yeah.
Fighting underwater.
Hey, there's one guy out there that's going, "Hey, I wanted to fight underwater." So yeah. Anyway, so thank you all for coming by. I think everybody's looking forward to the next game update. GU66 is scheduled for, have we announced that yet?
April 30th.
April 30th.
April 30th.
And
beta starts 2nd.
April 2nd. So that would be Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So this next Tuesday is when beta starts. Please help us out. Go check it out. The more of you that give us feedback on that kind of thing, the better the release can be when we get to it. So thank you for anybody that wants to help. And for the rest of you, I hope you're looking forward to it. I think that this will be a really good one. Thanks. Everybody wave. Oh yeah, there's the Clone Wars thing too.
Sony.